what I was saying before I got so rudely interrupted by technology is that the power of your message is what gets people to, uh, well, join with you in your service. And what I know about the power of publicity is it drives your credibility, your visibility, your trust in the marketplace. I know that publicity creates prospects and more money for you. I've seen it directly turn into return on investment, ROI. So what I want to do today is give you some focused ways to get your publicity happening in the marketplace. Okay, so with that, let's start with your message. And with your message, what's really interesting, look at the word message. Just write it down. I hope you're all taking some notes because I'm going to give you some great ways to get yourself out there today. And interestingly enough, the first two letters are me in the word message. The last four letters in the word message is sage. So in the word message is me, sage, right? I love that. And Jessica, by the way, someone's just sent a text in wanting the info, just FYI. So what we're looking at when we're looking at your message is solving problems in the marketplace. And what I've noticed about a lot of people, and I work with, all kinds of people and all kinds of businesses, is that if your message isn't right, the first four letters of message is mess. And unfortunately, that's what happens when your message isn't right in the marketplace. It's a mess. And people will say, hey, what do you do? And you go, there's a little stumbling or perhaps some, what I might call unconfidence. I know there's a better word, but you know what I'm saying. Like you won't feel confident, right? And so what I've noticed is that when your message is good, when it's strong, and you have really, in a way, what amounts to a script, like you know what to say and how to say it, and you deliver it well, and you deliver it with consistency and persistency in the marketplace, people will know you. And I do want you to stay consistent in the marketplace and to create a message that resonates for you with authenticity and articulateness, right? Meaning you are articulate with your message and you're clear with your message. And that, my friends, makes a world of difference. Okay? So let me give you the formula for that. And that is what you say is the problem today is, and then fill in that blank. And when we open up the line, I want to play with a few of you in this. So that would be, I think, be really helpful for some of you. And those of you who've been in my publicity course, maybe you can start us off because I think you have a good grounding in how to do that. So I know a few of you have been there. So we're looking at the problem today is, right? And then fill in that blank, not like, here's what I do, but I want you to focus on what's the problem out there in the marketplace, like what's going on out there. So for instance, recently I was working with someone, Richard, and he helps foster families from Mexico find their kids, okay? And he runs a nonprofit doing that. I said, Richard, that's great, but we have a whole big problem right now in the media, and we got kids in cages, and we got immigrant issues, and that's been in the news. And he looked at me and he goes, oh my God, I never really thought of that. But Jill, what I do is, and he, gave me the what I do statement. I'm like, great, and would you like more publicity? Do you know leveraging the problem out in the marketplace, meaning kids in cages, the immigrant issue, is what got him on ABC TV twice in San Diego. What got him, then we leveraged to CNN, and now Associated Press has picked it up. Let me just tell you, his nonprofit is collecting money like nobody's business, and he's able to reunite these kids so much faster and get done what he did come here to do. And what we did was we used a problem out in the marketplace right now. So I want you to think about leveraging your message more. Like, is there something going on in the news that's a problem that you, because of what you do, have a solution to? As we roll into the New Year's, people are, focused on health and fitness again, and they'll make more New Year's resolutions that hopefully they might keep this year. But could you be, a person who provides a solution to that? I saw there's a naturopath on the call. You absolutely have health solutions and can tell people what to do to live a healthier life. What can you zoom in on as we look month to month of the upcoming year that's perhaps a holiday or a season that perhaps you provide an answer to? So I really want you to look at that and start being with the problem today is. And really and whoops. Hey, you guys, if you can all mute, that would be fabulous. Thank you. So you're really looking at the problem today, right? Really looking at that. That's what I want you to be focused on, and to really make a clear issue about, and think about where you can fit in with the news. And so then, as experts, you give solutions. I tend to like people giving three solutions. People can remember and think in threes. And so keep them really simple. Keep them in 5-year-old language and make them commanding. Why do you make them commanding? This is the part where you get to really be the expert, and like Jessica said about commanding more presence, and that even if men are there or women are there, that that you just come across as the expert. And what I know is that kind of confidence translates, and it translates to others working with you. And really, my commitment, I was saying this in the beginning, is that what is happening for so many women is that they aren't speaking up. And then, interestingly enough, in let's just take the midterm elections, more women have been elected than ever before. More diversity has been elected than ever before, and transgender and all kinds of wonderful new energy is taking the place in our government, as an example. Now, for you in your message, what I really want you to look at is how can you, I like to call it, use everything you've got. Everything you've got. I'm talking the good and the bad. I'm talking the vulnerable and the happy. I'm talking the how you guide people, but really it's all about them, right? And so as we look at that, how can you use everything you've got? For example, I had a parenting coach, and she helped parents, um, well, basically not kill each other and raise their children well, because they love their children. They just didn't love each other anymore. So we did a story for Valentine's Day called How to Fall Out of Love. And that story, my friends, got her into 5 radio shows, 3 newspapers, 2 magazines, lots of podcasts and blogs. Now that's powerful, right? And she wanted to do a story about coaching for parenting. That wasn't what was going to work. What was going to work was to zoom into Valentine's Day with a somewhat different story, different spin, confrontive even. So where could you be using this? Everything you've got. Um, if you've dealt with some kind of cancer, there might be a month that cancer has an issue, or some kind of health challenge, same thing. Um, Whether, using your ethnicity and your religion is another great way to get more press. Even if, you're not necessarily, like I have Christian clients, maybe they're not like a big Christian leader, but we use Christian press, which, by the way, there's a lot of, in order to get them more press. My African American client used Black media in order to get more information out about her coaching. In fact, her whole thing, as an example, was coaching around goals, how to reach your goals, and how to be better in life about that. And so, of course, if we look at months of the year where this would be relevant, it's December and January. And then I had her broaden that to every quarter. Every quarter you should be looking at your goals, right? And look to see what else could work and what's new. And then, because she's Black, I had her do a segment in the African American community. And I have to tell you, she again pushed back a little bit. But Jill, I work with all kinds of people. I said, yes, but would you like more publicity? And can I tell you, following this strategy and doing publicity the right way, she got in Black Enterprise magazine, one of the best magazines in business. Well, let me just suggest to you that that really grew her coaching practice. And so what I've noticed about people as they use publicity is your practice increases, your trust in the marketplace is expanded. People know your name. And then I call that I've heard of her somewhere syndrome. Oh, I've heard of her. I've seen her name somewhere. That's what you want using publicity as a strategy. And let me just share with you that each one of you, wherever you are, is ready for it. Okay, what I mean by that is you take the baby step you take in the moment that you take it, and that it's all perfect. The point is to take the step to get your name out there more in the area of publicity. And what I've noticed is that that does absolutely translate to clients and credibility. And then, what you do is you use that publicity to leverage and to show people that other people are talking about you. And this could look like one line somewhere that somebody wrote about you. Like one of my coaches I worked with, she got one line in a San Francisco newspaper about the business of coaching. Now, she's not a business coach. She's a personal and professional development coach, more transformational coach. So, as especially we're coming into the new year, there's so many great stories about that we could create about new year, new you, about what it would mean to be healthier and happier, what it means to be a transformed, well, you fill in the blank, right? And so I really want you to kind of step back now and look ahead into 2019. And whenever you're listening to this, in whatever year we're in, look ahead and see what year, what month of the year can fit for your story. So, like, for example, in July, it's often July 4th in the United States, and that's Independence Day. And what I love talking about instead of Independence Day is, what would you like to be free from? What would you like to be free from? Now, that's a beautiful question, right? That many of you could ask and answer doing what you do. So that's where I want to step back and just have you step back and go, wow, where else can I fit into the media? What else can I be doing that's a far more interesting story than just what you've been talking about or coaching about or what your offer is? What can you do to step back and create a bigger story, a story that fits into the news and is powerful for the media, that will then serve the people and serve your business? Because media will serve your business, I promise, and will get you much bigger opportunities, as well as the leverage of what we might call braggability. And most importantly, and particularly for women, I just really want to say, it's time for you to stand up in your power, in your message, and be proud of it, and use publicity as a vehicle to spread the word about yourself and your business and how you help people, but really in a way that helps others and serves others and gives value to the public. And that's how I want you to think about your publicity, as you as a messenger with a message that's worthwhile and important and a must be told to others, because it's going to drive your business, because it's going to help your career, and because it's going to serve others so much. And I know as messengers, you want to be serving others. And that's why I love publicity, because it serves others, as well as, of course, serving your business. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a win-win for all. Jessica, should we open it up for a little bit?
Yeah, thank you so much. I always love for the inspired and excited place that you come from, because this kind of greater PR of being published in magazines and radio shows, etc., is like a foreign world to me, but you make it less and less foreign each time I witness you teaching. So thank you for just bringing your light and positivity to this conversation that feels big and scary sometimes. I just wanted to note, in the chat box, I put a link to the list of all of the observance days in 2019, International Women's Day, Rosa Parks Day. There's some other really good ones in there. And I have seen people tie in email communications, events, special giveaways, etc., blog articles like Jill was talking about, to these inspiring observance days. So I love that you brought that up, because that's actually something I've chewed on and not really done. So anyway, that link is there. Let's open it up for Q&A, and then do you want to tell them about your publicity course, or is there anything you want to just like share with them that we can put in the chat box here before we go into Q&A, just because I know sometimes women have to drop off a little bit early?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Well, let me just say that I do offer a publicity course. It is a get it done, no nonsense, roll up our sleeves and do it. Jan's been in there, and hi, Jan. And Samadi's been in there, and I'm just seeing if anybody else I recognize. Please forgive me if I miss you on here. But I would love to invite you. It's actually being held in the Bay Area, February 11th, live with me. And if you really want to get started, we'll put you on the live Zoom even before that. And this is a no nonsense. We actually do your publicity. Like, you don't just talk about it, we do it. And you leave with 3 documents done and 4 templates you can use ongoingly for the life of your business. So I'd be happy to do that. And because I'm one of your sisters, I'm going to give you really the outrageous special. So although you'll see on the web when you go there, a different price. If you put in the code super duper, and maybe Jessica, you could put that in for
Yeah,
people.
I'll write it in.
Super duper, SUPERDUPER. I'm going to give you the like friends and family sweet sister special. So that'll be great for all of you. And also, I just want to say, if something I do that some of you maybe do or don't know is I help people get book deals without actually a word written. Or if you're a self-published author, I help you get foreign rights deals, meaning go global with your book. So if that's of interest to you, please reach out to me. And maybe what you can do is put my Mary Beth's email as well as my phone number, because, hey, I like to talk to people. And let me talk to you about the possibility of getting a book out there, because it's time. And I'll tell you, it's a great way to get your publicity done. And again, not a word has to be written. So that's the good news. And just so you know, I have 4 books, my friends. And let me just share with you, I didn't write a word of them until I had contracts in place for all of them. So that's the good news. And my latest book, Profit of Kindness, has done really well in the area of publicity and taken me places that, you know, in a way I didn't actually foresee or dream about. So that's been pretty exciting and created a lot of openings in the world of publicity. And if I may, you know, this is a good teaching point. Let me teach you about something with Profit of Kindness. That's my latest book. And remember I said to you about use everything you've got. Okay. So when Profit of Kindness came out, we were in the midst of a very cantankerous election and an unkind time, which of course it continues to be an unkind time. And so I went out with a press release that talked about the divided states of America. Well, the divided states of America, guess what? That got me on 7 Fox News TV interviews. And by the way, I love talking about kindness on Fox News. That was hot. That was really hot. And, you know, it got me 45 radio shows and counting. I'm still doing them. I'm going to do one this afternoon. The book was out a year and a half ago. Publicity continues. It's an ongoing process. I got in Forbes magazine and Inc. magazine twice, by the way, using a different kind of story. And I even got in an Iranian magazine. So if anyone knows Farsi, I'd love you to translate the article. But, you know, because kindness is a subject that everyone needs. But I didn't go out there saying, Jill's got a new book out. Wow, wow, woohoo. No, it was a story about what's going on in the US and the division. And that was the story. So I really want you to hear that, because that's the power of what happened with publicity and continues to happen to sell a lot of books and to create a whole new speaking engagement topic for me, which is going into corporate now and speaking to corporate cultures about kindness. Yahoo, right? So
Needed.
keep thinking about how you can leverage what you've got to fit into the news, and using everything you've got to create maybe a different problem in the marketplace that perhaps you hadn't thought about before.
Thank you, Jill. Let's just take a moment to blow Jill a kiss. Mwah. Inspiration.
Aw.
Aho. So powerful to be in circle with such powerful women out in the world. Jill, you definitely being one of those.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
feel so grateful. Let's open it for questions. You can just unmute yourself. We're a small enough group today that I think you can just kind of chime in. I'm Jessica. Here's my question, and just be as succinct as possible. So we're not really opening up for long statements, but really just really getting to the jewel and asking Jill your question with a little context if needed.
Yeah, and Jessica, why you brought that up, being succinct, can I just give you another teaching point? When I was on these Fox News TV segments, 4 minutes and 20 seconds, my friends. Do you know how fast that goes? Really fast. So you got one thing about being succinct and concise and precise, and anyone that's worked with me knows this. I'm really good with getting that message really succinct. And so as you're asking the question, this is a great time to practice.
Awesome. Thanks, Jill. All right.
I have a
Janet, I saw your
question.
hand go up.
Hi, Jill. Thanks so much for being here. So my question for you is, I'm taking advantage of February, the month of love, to do a 5-day Align Yourself with Love challenge during Valentine's Day week. Clear the blocks so your love life rocks, using this new cutting edge consciousness tool I teach my participants and students. Would you do a press release? Like, how would you get the word out about that?
Okay, so Jan, remember what we did in
big challenge. Mm-hmm.
Sure, thank you. Remember what we did in the course with the announcement strategy? I want you to do that number one right now, and then another one as we get closer, because remember it's every 60 days, right?
Oh.
So one right now is perfect, and then again right near Valentine's Day. So that's one really easy strategy, completely free, that you've already learned, which is great. So I think that would be good. And then I think a pitch about a love challenge is really cool. The media likes challenges, and I would probably go after lifestyle people in particular, or women's magazines. Magazines, actually, you're a little short on time, because for all of you, and typically a magazine, I want you to think of your publicity. This is a great teaching point, in 3, 6, and 9 month increments. So, with magazines, they're called long leads, and those are about 9 months out, 6 at the earliest. Okay. So those of you who are looking down the road, yay. For Jan, I think it's a little short on time. So you focus more on radio, TV, blogs, and podcasts, particularly for you in terms of timing. And I like the challenge idea, but again, focus it on how they can, how to get more love in your life. Okay. And that you're the solution to that.
Awesome. Thank you. When you say focus on podcasts and radios, what do you mean focus on that? Like when I do an announcement, is there some way where I indicate where I want that announcement sent out?
Right. Go check the notes. I'm going to tell you on that, because that's a bit proprietary. But so what you want to do is focus local. Think local on that, and then on your national piece, you want to focus on going after the challenge with regard to having more love in your life. I think would be really wonderful.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Debbie, I saw your hand go up, and then Karen, in that order.
Hi, real quick, thank you for all this information. What is the timeline on getting a press release out for an event? Like how many weeks in advance should that be happening?
So typically at least 6 weeks, and 6 is even a little short, to be honest. I tend to like working way ahead. It's just a lot less stress, and like even for my second book, Get Noticed Get Referrals, we had KTVU Mornings on 2 booked 8 months in advance. 8 months. Now, what shifted was the story that they wanted when I walked into the studio that day. And we booked it 8 months in advance. So even TV sometimes books, but certainly I think, I say 6 weeks, that's at a minimum. I prefer 3 months, 90 days, like no kidding.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Great.
Great question. I see Karen and then Genevieve. I see her hand raised. Karen?
Hi, Jill. Can you hear me?
Hey there. Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Nice to see you again. We met
Thank
years
you.
ago at CEO's Fit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm curious to go back to where to start now. So I'm hearing there's a 3, 6, 9 month lead time, but I too have an event in February. So what would you do with that short lead time? Are you willing to give us, like, if you've got only 2 months, what would you do? If you have a
Yes.
year, what's ideal? Kind of break it down.
Sure. So I think on 2 months, what I would do is zoom in on the story, and also depending on the price of your event. What's your price point on your event?
Probably $88, but again, it could be less. We were talking in the Sister Mind about giving a half off discount code to FemTalks women.
Right. I mean, right. You always want to make things wonderfully affordable for this group in particular. So what I would say is, if you can do that, why I'm asking is because with the media, there are, like, you can do calendar announcements, but they typically are maxed out $25 to $35, meaning when you're inviting people into something. I tried anyway, what the heck, at 44 and see what happens, so something I would do is probably focus more on blogs and podcasts. For all of you, you can go through iTunes and type in your keywords with your particular, issues or keywords generally, right? And then see who's got podcasts on that. I'd also go to Blog Talk Radio and do the same thing, because here's the good news about people with podcasts and people on Blog Talk Radio, as an example, is they always need guests. So that'd be fairly simple items to do that would create more instant visibility. And I'd focus there, and I'd focus probably locally. And I'd also look at joint venture partners, which, by the way, to me is publicity, right? And who would be willing to help spread the word. I know that Jessica very generously talks about that a lot during her circles and her lunches, and ask your friends here in the circle to help support and promote it. Because, it's all, can I just tell you, it's all publicity, really, meaning, depending on who promotes what you're working on, it's all publicity. So I want you all to all reach out in different ways to keep your name out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks so much for saying that piece, Jill, because that's one of the easiest, especially since we're all already in circle with one another, one of the easiest things. Jill and I were just at a retreat. So Charla Jacobs and Jesse Corin do a retreat every year for their partners, not their clients, but so there are like 6, 7, 8-figure entrepreneurs in the room. Like, I'm a small fish in that room. And it was interesting because there was a lot of talk and masterminding and wisdom sharing around launches and filling events and things like that. And every single person in that room uses JV partners, meaning it's just a fancy version of having their friends promote their events and launches for them. There were people in the room that would have like 150 other people promoting their upcoming event. You don't need 150 partners. In fact, one of the things that they were also saying is that some of them were actually having better luck with like 5 or 6 really trustable partners where they were like just super in sync, super aligned audiences. And that's my thing that I'm always telling you, ladies. You have an event coming up, just get 4 or 5 other awesome women sharing that event for you. Then you don't have to worry about filling your events. Like, I don't have to worry about filling Femme Talks. It's rare that I'm stressed filling Femme Talks. It just fills itself because there's multiple women spreading the word.
Jessica, I'm gonna take a quick bio break. I'll be right back.
Okay, perfect. I'll say a little bit more about this while you take your bio break. The other thing that I'll say about that is that there are women in this circle with you that have email lists of 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 60,000 subscribers. I'm not going to tell you who. Come to the networking lunches, I want you to imagine that everyone sitting in that table has email list of 50,000 subscribers. And the reason I say that is because it's interesting. It's wonderful to have a big list and have people with big lists spreading the word about your events and your launches for you. Super powerful. And smaller lists, like a hot list of 500, where those 500 people personally know the person who's emailing them, those lists actually get much higher open rates. Mm-hmm. So it is possible to have like super hot launch or super hot fill in your event experience with people with small lists, because the people on that list have a personal relationship with the person who's emailing them. And so them saying, hey, I'm going to Jan's event or I'm going to Karen's event, come with me, can actually be incredibly powerful because it feels personal, like a personal recommendation. I used to actually, Jessie and Charla used to actually get more business through my email list when it was smaller. My email list is bigger now, and they actually get fewer clients through me when I send my emails about their program. So it's interesting how that works. So just, you've got some awesome connections right here in this circle, so use them. I saw that Genevieve had her little blue hand raised, and then I saw Ryan. I'm going to do Genevieve and then Ryan. So Genevieve, can you unmute yourself so that we can hear you?
Okay.
Awesome.
Hi. Thanks for sending me that link. It was, anyways, my question is, I guess it kind of got answered, which is you said about publicity of your, it's like TV, radio, podcast, local, national, like that's stuff that I'm like, where do you do that? But then you later on said a great way to do that is to go through iTunes and browse the podcast and the blog talk radio for, topics that relate to our style. And what other do you recommend? We say local, national, and then you mentioned something about a press release. So what is that about?
Okay. So first of all, I want to say to you, you take it a step at a time, right? Don't look at all this at once. Not everybody needs all this at once. Different ones of you will need different things. Like Jan's doing an event, and some of you are doing an event. Is it Karen? Karen, yeah. You're doing an event, right? But, if you're not doing an event or there's not something specific, we may not do a press release. I mean, a press release may be sent out once to twice a year, and it may not even be about or anything about your event, but maybe a bigger issue, like I was sharing about Richard and the foster children. And we drive someone based on what's going on issue-wise. As far as where you start, I love to start with people first on their message and making sure that your message is consistent, aligned with you, and that frankly, it works out in the marketplace. Because to me, it's not just like, here's what I do. Like, as I look at each one of you, what I would call here's what you do part, it's more about what is your message that touches others in the marketplace? And listen to this, why should they care? Right? Why should they care? And so that's what we've got to, shall we say, set up, distribute, and get focused on. Having the market care about what you offer, that's what I want for you. And that's what we're setting up and structuring as we go into looking at what's going to work from your publicity. And in each one of your cases, the answer might be completely different. But I always like people to start with the message and then look at, typically, everything you've got. Like, what can we use about you that's interesting or unusual or falls into a holiday category? Or, like Jessica might go out for International Women's Day talking about how to be a feminine leader. Hint, hint, Jessica. So for each one of you, International Women's Day in March might be a great place to target. And for each one of you, I could probably come up with a reason why. So I think that's really a key. But you start where you start. And what I want to encourage all of you is that, you take a baby step based on where you're at. You plant a seed in your publicity garden. Because if you plant no seeds ever, I hate to tell you, but you're not going to have a garden, right? So we want to, I want you to start wherever you start right now with what you're comfortable with. And in some of your cases, that might be localized. Some of your cases, that might be more national. But let's plant a publicity seed. And the best place to start is with that message. And using everything you've got tends to be a lot easier for most of you. And the way to do that is to look at what's happening in the press right now also. Put that in the mix too, and that way we stir all that beautiful concoction up and make a magical publicity tour. I saw the Beatles movie the other night, Deconstructing the Magical Mystery Tour, so it's on my brain.
Awesome. Should we move to Genevieve? Did that help? I muted you because there was some crackly noise. Oh, oops, sorry.
Yeah, that a little bit helpful, but I'm curious too. You a few times mentioned press release. What is that? I mean, I know what a press release is, but where do you send that to, and why do they care? I'm sure they get a million. I mean, I don't know. Where do you send it to, and what does that look like?
Sure. So a press release is a document that basically encapsulates your story. It's the encapsulation of the problem solution piece that I was talking about. And then also it has your bio in it. And it targets a very specific story. Where you send it to is the media. And that media will be either a targeted list or a bit of a, like you can use prwebdirect.com and they will send out a press release to a 24,000 media outlets. A bit of a, I call it spaghetti at the wall, but it works, meaning I had a guy who developed an app and CNBC picked up the lovely press release that was sent out over PR Web Direct, and we got an exclusive, from that. So that's pretty exciting. So I will tell you that the press release is the last part of what we do. Like at my publicity course, we do it last very specifically because there's pieces and building blocks that are important to build up to it. So don't let your mind go too confused around quote unquote what a press release is. But just to know on a short, simple, and sweet way to tell you what a press release is a document that reaches the media that basically encapsulates your story.
Awesome. Cool. Very cool. All right, Miss Ryan.
I feel like that is kind of what my question was. When you had been speaking earlier, you said we made a story. So the story is basically just, excuse me, modifying your general service or your message to fit the need of the moment. That's the story. And it's
That's
product as well, or it's just explaining who you are?
no, actually, the story is more important than even explaining who you are, because you're the source. You know, look at that word. This is really interesting to me. When people are identified in the media, they're identified as the source, right? The source said, or a source told us, right? And sometimes their name isn't even mentioned. And I look at a spiritual level, what's source? Isn't that interesting? What is source? Source is God. Source is Holy Spirit. Source is bigger than all of us. And it's so interesting to me that those are two words, interchangeable, that the media uses. And for me, I look at you're the source of the story, right? And then we look energetically and spiritually as, in a way, setting yourself up as that all-knowing. And so with that, the question is, what's the story?
And what's
And then,
the definition of this word story, I guess, is my question.
okay, so yeah, thank you, Jess, because that was pretty inspired. I appreciate you replicating that. So the story comes down to your message, and the story might be based on something that's month to month and holiday related. When I say holiday, I also mean months of the year that have a theme, or a theme that relates to yours. So Ryan, can I just ask, what do you do?
I'm a coach, and I work specifically with like self-image and emotional eating.
Oh, excellent. So let me ask you, because I bet you there is, when's Emotional Disorder Eating Month, or whatever it would be called, something close to that?
I don't know.
Go ahead and Google that and find out, because I have a feeling there's some kind of eating disorder month. I'm sure of it. And I would have you going in with the story about emotional eating and what happens as a result of that and how to avoid it. And that, my friend, is the story. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, so the story can show up as like a video you make, or it's a blog, but it's like any format that you want to transmit that message.
It can be, yes. I mean, the question is, are we telling the story to your audience or to the media audience? They're two slightly different audiences. And maybe that helps you understand that I'm looking at the media audience as one particular audience, and they're going to drive your clients to you and your customers to you.
Okay, I think that helps.
Does that help?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, you bet.
I, a little bit earlier, put a link. I think I already said this. I don't remember. It's too early in the morning or afternoon. The list of all of the observance days in 2019. And it's cool. It's like, ooh, there's some cool stuff here.
I know, and isn't it wonderful how so many on the call can fit right into those? So do look at those, and then do your own research on what holidays, again, that you can fit into, because I'm promising you there are many. And in my publicity class, we actually outline each month, and then I have people identify 3 months that they're going to do, and then 1 month that we're definitely zoomed into making a story about. So 1 month a year is very handleable, my friends. 3 months is really exciting, but let's go for 1, right? Everything would be an increase for many of you. So again, you step it where you can step it, and do what you can in each moment, step by step.
And I also want to say there are a couple of other videos in the Wisdom Vault, femtalks.org/wisdom, that Jill has led. There's one about publicity and your book, but she definitely ties into publicity in your business. There's another one, I don't remember what it's called, but they're all slightly different flavors, and it's nice, like, where a lot of us on this call are coming from having already been on those calls with Jill, because we only have such a short time with each other. So it's great for Ryan, Genevieve, anyone who wasn't on those calls to go back, and you can even just push play, put it in your pocket, listen with your headphones, take a walk in nature. You don't have to be like at your computer to hear that wisdom, but just wanted to let you know that Jill has a couple of other videos that are different information, but it all dovetails with what she's saying today.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's get a couple more questions. Peggy. let's go ahead and unmute you.
Hi, Jill. Nice to meet you, and I'm really enjoying it's very refreshing. And I love the part where you said you start with the problem today with the world is, and whatever that is you're going to talk about, and that you bring it all. You bring the good, the bad, the mess, the clarity. That looks very scary, but I can see that's the thing to do. And I think, when, for instance, in the beginning of this call, does anybody have anything to say? I noticed the feeling is I have to know what that is, and I have to have it together. And that I found that not to be true. It has worked. That in speaking, it's worked, but to not have everything prepared. In fact, to be more available and open. But I'd love to hear you talk more about the mess, the good, the bad, how that works.
Okay, thank you. Well, what I find on the use everything you've got portion, and one of the things, and I told you I'm a bit of a messenger of messengers, so I'm always listening for people's story, like what's underneath what they're telling me. Like one woman I worked with, she's a yoga instructor, dances tango. She's phenomenal, right? And she didn't want to tell anyone her age, which happened to be 72. She looked about 54. I'm really not kidding, just absolutely beautiful. And I'm like, okay, once I found out how old she was, can we talk about that? Like, can we talk about the fact that even you're scared of saying what your age is because you want to be judged as a younger, more beautiful woman, blah, blah, and wouldn't quite step into that. Yeah, I'm 72, and here's what it takes to be this, in a way, beautiful, that here, and here's what I do, and some of my secrets. Well, that is actually what got her, can I just tell you, onto KTLA, Good Day LA in Los Angeles, huge TV show, and she did so well doing this that they actually invited her back. And see, I want you all to hear that, because people are sometimes afraid to talk about, the story of whatever, right? Oh gosh, maybe I shouldn't tell them whatever. And that actual story of her age as an example, and even the fact that she was afraid to tell people that, is what got her the media, is what got her a huge NBC TV show in LA. How powerful is that? And then got her invited back because they just loved her so much. And she knew what to say, I might add. Right? So that's what I'm talking about. That, I'm always listening for what's underneath the story. What's in between the lines. And sometimes it is hard to do that in your own box, right? And to see what's so fabulous or unusual or sad or great about you. So what I find is, just write a whole bunch of stuff. Here's what I did, and here's what I've done in my life, or here's what was really tough, or here's what made me become who I am. Here's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that's the gold I'm looking for.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I also wanted to say that we have a training call coming up on Wednesday, March 13th with an incredible Kylie Slavic, who's just an incredible woman. And it's all about storytelling, whether it's for your book or your next talk, or maybe tying into some of what Jill is talking about. But she works with like big corporations. She works with heart-centered light workers. She is a heart-centered light worker. So we'll be going deeper into storytelling in that March training call.
And by the way, can I just add, she's fabulous. Kylie hired me to represent her book at Book Expo without a word written, by the way, and I loved the whole storytelling piece.
Oh, yeah, I love that you know each other.
I'm excited you're going to be able to do that.
Awesome. That makes me happy. Keeping it in the family.
Absolutely.
Let's, we have time for one more question. Jen had a request to share briefly about her experience in Jill's publicity crash course. I actually would love to hear that because I haven't had a chance to make it yet, and I definitely want to. So Jen, I would love to hear just briefly because we want to answer one more question. Oh wait, we have to unmute yourself.
Hi, Jill.
attending Jill's day-long
So-
publicity.
Oh wait,
course.
Christy, Jan, it's Jan's turn.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you'll be next.
So I highly recommend attending Jill's day-long publicity crash course. Before I came to her event, I could never see myself. I could never imagine myself on the radio or on TV. And just being in Jill's presence, hearing what she had to say, and that changed. I walked out being able to imagine myself being interviewed in the media as like needing to be out there actually. So it's very inspiring and empowering. She, what's powerful is that she gives you templates that you fill out during the day, and you get direct immediate feedback, not only from Jill, but from all the other participants too. So it helps you really dial in and nail your message. And then also she gives just step-by-step how-tos about writing an announcement and things like that. Like some questions have come up. So I highly recommend this resource.
Mwah. Thank you, Jan. That was so kind.
Thanks, Jan.
Thank you, sweetheart.
You're welcome.
All right, Christy, we'll take your question. Will be our last question.
Yeah, I've been, every year I work on the Martin Luther King Day, and I was at the Marin City meeting for the celebration, and no one was doing publicity, and they were asking for help, and my hand went up. So somehow I got roped into helping with, and we have a meeting on Friday, and you know, I've lived in Marin County all my life, and up until recently, I realized I knew nobody in Marin City. And so I started to have opportunities to go in and meet people and start working in some of the dynamics of community projects and things that are going on in there. Oh my God, I was like meeting these amazing people that are doing incredible things. I mean, talk about. And so I was thinking there needs to be a story or something. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if you can help me with, but I just, you know, because there's kind of like, and I think I'm not alone in people having resistance to going into an area like Marin City, where they have preconceived notions of drug trafficking or something else that's not really what's the reality of families who live there and work there and have forged a life for themselves, doing amazing projects and amazing accomplishments. So somehow I want to get their stories out. I don't know whether the Marin General, the Marin Press, or I feel like if people got to know who these people are and what they've done, you know, overcoming adversity, and it would just shift everything. There would be a more open-hearted, wholehearted embrace of this community instead of, you know, some of the segregated stuff, which is
Beautiful. I got it. So, Christy, a couple things. First of all, I love it. I always say I get elected to boards when I go out of the room and go to the bathroom. Like all of a sudden I come back and I'm on the board. You know how that happens, right? I think that happened to you. Now you're in charge of PR. So congratulations, number one. Certainly we can talk offline and do what I call magic bullet sessions if you need that very specifically for that. And what I'd say, you know, there's Marin Scope newspapers. That would be good. They want local stories. The Marin Independent Journal absolutely wants local stories. And I would probably pitch it as a, you know, in our own backyard, here are modern Martin Luther Kings. And I think that would be an interesting story. You know, here's some amazing people doing some incredible things, you know, and that would be an interesting story. And get the Marin IJ to be a sponsor of this event, a media sponsor, which gets them far more involved, I think would be really good. Along with the Pacific Sun. Those are the two I'd go right after and see if you can get them connected to you. That would be really good.
That's
Yes.
awesome. I love that in our own backyard are modern MLKs.
Yes, I like that too. I
Mhm.
like that too. Yeah, that's really good.
And I could see women here using like, I used to send out an email on Maya Angelou's birthday. I haven't done that for a while, but you could almost like interchange that, like right here in our community are modern Maya Angelou's or Rosa Parks or any other inspiring people to spotlight awesome
Yes.
light workers.
Yes. By the way, if I may, I see someone asking in the chat who wants to take my course. You go to publicitycrashcourse.com/registration and then enter the code super duper. So maybe
Oh, I
Jessica, you can
see.
put that in.
Okay, let's see. Publicity.
I'm curious what you
And
think
thank
about.
you. Yes, please.
I'm curious what you think about Facebook advertising as far as publicity.
I think used in conjunction with publicity, it's great. When we do the message piece at my course, I always say, listen, this is your message for social media too. And I saw one guy who did it on live Zoom because he's from Australia with me. He put it on Facebook, not as an ad, but he got 225 likes that day, even better than an ad as far as I'm concerned, right? Meaning people really paid attention. I think it's an and, right? Yes, and that would be really good.
I just wanted to say too, at this retreat that Jill and I were at, it seems like when people are talking about doing Facebook ads, Facebook ads have changed since they first started them. They used to be very effective to just not really know much about how to do them and get really great results. That has changed, and the people that are having really good success with Facebook ads are hiring Facebook ad marketing firms to do their ads for them. So you can play around with them, but until you're at the point where your business can actually sustainably hire a marketing firm that specializes in Facebook ads, it is very possible to waste a lot of money on Facebook ads. So it may not be a next step for some of the women on this call. And I love that, Jill, all of the PR that you suggest in your course and here is all stuff that you or your assistant can do.
That's right. Completely free, I might add, and doesn't cost you a fortune. In which Facebook ads, listen, I've done them too, throwing a lot of money into nothing sometimes, and hope for the best. And frankly, the publicity I've seen work consistently and ongoingly for that credibility.
But great question. So, Jill, you disappeared.
Wait, I'm coming back.
Okay. Well, we need to wrap up, but I really appreciated the questions. It was so great to just, the questions were awesome. Looks like there was a little issue that Karen was having using the code. So you can just call Jill's office directly. Jill put her phone number here. So just copy paste all this, because when we end our call, this whole chat box is going to go away. So copy paste anything that you need to. I will put this video up in your Wisdom Vault with the correct link and code and phone number and everything. If it's not working for you right now, but you can just connect with Jill directly and she'll get you handled. So, well, I just want to appreciate you, Jill, again for taking this time with us. I love you so much. I love your presence. And we're just going to take a moment to send you our highest intentions and prayers by taking a big breath for you and acknowledging the brilliance you bring to our community and the brilliance you bring out into the world with your wisdom. So big breath for Jill. Wonderful, ladies. Have a beautiful rest of your afternoon.